What's up, YouTube friends? So today I'm making lip balm. Now I use a lot of lip balm and I prefer the Burt's beeswax. However, it's pretty expensive per tube. About a year and a half ago, maybe even 2 years ago, I found a recipe that's very similar to Burt's beeswax, and it's just pennies per tube. I'll go ahead and I'll leave the original recipe down below. I actually forgot where I found this. It was on Pinterest, so I'm not sure who to give credit to. But I'm going to kind of stray from the recipe today. Now that recipe is a very basic recipe, and you could go ahead and add different oils or different essential oils to your liking. So the things I'll be using today are some beeswax pellets. Now I like the white kind. They also have a yellow kind. The original recipe calls for sunflower oil. I don't have any, but I do have some olive oil. I'll be using some coconut oil, a couple tablets of the vitamin E. I'll also be using peppermint essential oil. And today I'll be using eucalyptus. The original recipe says rosemary. Now one ingredient I do not have and I did not put in the last time I made this is lanolin. Now lanolin is like the grease or the fat from the sheep's wool. It does have very good moisturizing properties, but you only need a pea-sized amount per batch. And the cheapest I can find is 1 pound for $20, and I just don't need that much. And I'm not quite sure how shelf stable it is. One batch of this lip balm will last me almost about a year, so I just leave it out. Now today I'll be using this lip balm making kit. It looks just like this, and I'll go ahead and I'll link this down below and any of the ingredients I use. But this actually makes it a lot easier to fill up these tubes. You could just use a little pipette or anything like that if you don't want to use one of these. But this kit comes with the tray, 50 of the tubes, and 50 of the caps. It also has this little spatula to flatten out and even up your lip balms. And it also comes with a few sheets of labels. Now these labels are square, and they actually have that little safety seal on them also. But I have not used these. It does come with directions on how to set up your printer for the dimensions of these little labels. That's just way too much work for me. So I went ahead and I just made some labels on my Cricut. And actually the first batch of lip balm I made, I didn't even label them because I'm the only one that uses it. But like I said, I just went ahead and made my own labels just for fun. I named it Matt's Me's. And the size of label that you want to use is 2.1 inches by 2.1 inches. I'll also be using my scale to measure out my ingredients and a double boiler. I have my pan sitting on the stove right now with water simmering. And then I'll just put everything in my Pyrex and melt it in that. So let's get started. So today I'll be weighing everything in grams. So I have my little ramekin here, and I'm going to tear that out. And the first thing I'm going to do is measure out 30 grams of beeswax. The original recipe, like I said, I'll put it down below, as well as what I'm doing here today. So you'll have two recipes down below. But in the original recipe, it calls for 20 grams. And I thought it was just a little bit soft or a little bit greasier than I would like. So today I'm going to add 30 grams. And this says actually 31, but I'm okay with that. So I'm just going to dump it in my measuring cup. Next, I'm going to weigh out 20 grams of coconut oil. Now you can soften this up by leaving it out in the sun if you'd like to and make it more liquidy. I just think it's just easier to weigh when it's a little solid. So that looks like about 2 tablespoons or so. And then I'm going to measure out 45 grams of oil, and I'll be using the olive oil today. Next, I'm going to put 4 tablets of the vitamin E, and you just want the juice from the inside. So what I like to do is just grab a push pin, I poke a hole at the top, and then just squeeze it in. So now I'm just going to add my essential oils. So I'm going to put 15 drops of peppermint oil first. The original recipe says 12 drops, but I think it could use a little bit more. Then I'm going to put 4 drops of the eucalyptus, or the original recipe says rosemary. Now I'm going to set this off on the stove in a double boiler, and I'm going to melt this all down until it's nice and smooth. Alright, so I just have my water at a simmer, and I'm just going to stir this until everything's nice and melted. Alright, so everything is melted down. That took, I don't know, less than 5 minutes. And it actually smells really good here in the kitchen. Now, if you're not feeling very well and congested, essential oils are great for that. So what I like to do is run a nice hot bath. I put about a cup of Epsom salt in there, and then I'll do 20 drops of the peppermint and 20 drops of the eucalyptus and just set in there and soak. It really helps cleaning out your sinuses and breaks up anything in your lungs, and it will really relax those sore and achy muscles. Don't sleep on essential oils. And now I'm just going to fill up my tubes. Now this recipe will make about 18, so I'm just going to start over in this corner. Now the great thing about this little holder is you can be pretty messy. Now I actually got 20 tubes out of that batch, and I filled them up so that they were overflowing. So now I'm just going to stick this into the fridge for about 5 to 10 minutes until they're completely solid. They will shrink down in the tube, so any of this extra, I'll then scrape that off, remelt it, and top off my tubes. Alright, so everything's chilled. The only one that really sunk down was this one right here. So I'm just going to scrape off the rest of this, remelt it. I'll top off this guy, and then I'll put the rest in a tube. If it doesn't fill up a whole tube, that's fine. I'll just use that one first. And actually it looks like I could probably get 2 more tubes. We'll find out. So actually first I'm just going to fill up this one tube to see if I have enough. And I do. And then I'm just going to top off these little ones that just need a little drop here and there. So now I'm just going to stick this back into the fridge, let them cool down, and we'll come back to label them. Alright, so I almost got 22 with that batch. This one's about 3/4 full, so like I said, I'll just use this one first. If you do have any extras, just let it solidify, and then I always just put it in like a little Tupperware container, and I save that for the next batch that I'm going to make. So now I'm just going to add my cap. I'm going to use a paper towel with just a little bit of rubbing alcohol. I just want to get any of that grease off there before I put my label on. And then I'm just going to stick on my label. Just like that. Now this does come up over your cap to have that little safety seal. Like I said, I just made these labels so it doesn't have any perforations. So do keep that in mind if you're going to make this for yourself. You might just want to shrink your label down the width way if you don't like that, and maybe about just 2 inches instead of the 2.1. Now I use about one of these a month, so this will definitely last me a good year or so. If you like this video and want to see more of my videos, go down below and hit that big red subscribe button and give this video a big thumbs up. If you have a question about this video or any of my other videos, or would just like to leave a suggestion for a future upcoming video, leave me a comment. Head on over to my Etsy store where I just put up some new merch. I have dishwasher safe coffee cups now, Scrappy Patch can koozies, as well as some Scrappy Patch one-of-a-kind tumblers. I'll also link my social medias down below if you'd like to follow me over there. And as always, thanks for watching. Happy lip balm making, and I'll see you next time.